In a world driven by digital innovation, how do you lead a team to break free from outdated ways, embrace change, and stay ahead in fast-moving markets?
If we want to implement change, but the first thing that people will experience will be shock. And then after they got shocked, the initial shock, they will get angry.
Business leaders find out on Decimal Point. Change is never easy, especially for organizations that have been around for decades. When teams have to work in new ways and adapt to new goals, how do leaders turn uncertainty into confidence? Today we explore these lessons with Bintulu Port, Sarawak's vital gateway for 40 years. How does a leader implement tough changes to drive an organization into the digital world? Bintulu Port is celebrating, more than 40 years this year as well. As we know, its inception since in the 1980s.
Yes.
For yourself in having this era and leading this as well, what does leadership you can see as the connection between this role and also achieving its key business outcome? Dato'?
As you said, Bintulu Port has been around for 42 years. It has contributed quite a lot to the Sarawak economy. Just a little bit of history. When I joined Bintulu Port 3.5 years ago, less than 3.5 years ago, I thought it was such a boring business to be in, and how wrong I was, because then only I realized that with the situation that we have in Bintulu Port, there's a lot of opportunity for us to improve, and one of them is through digital. I think why we want to go to digital, I want to answer the word why first, because I feel that it's all about increasing our efficiency, it's increasing our productivity, it reduces the cost, and ultimately when we reduce the cost, we will pass it back to our customer, and it will be cheaper for them to go through our port, for instance. Even though our tariff for the last 42 years has not changed, so we are one of the cheapest port in the country, but yet we have to make the margin, we have to make money. So one way is for us to be more efficient, and adopting digital is a must. I say it's a need for us to do that. It's not something that we want, it's not a choice, but it's a need. Sometimes people say, oh, it's going to cost you so much. Can you afford it? But the bigger question to me is, can we afford not to do it? So I think we have reached a stage where we have to embrace it, and we have to adopt it, and we have to implement what are necessary for us to have in place in order to increase the operational efficiency and productivity. So from the perspective of leadership, I think it is something that we have to embrace, it is something that we have to have.
In 2030, Bintulu Port is targeting to be, fully digital by 2050. Another benchmark again for Bintulu Port. So, what is the biggest adoption challenge and going to its way in 2050 as well, Dato', that Bintulu Port is facing right now?
Yeah, you are right. For a company that has been around for 42 years, comes with it not only the experience but also the habits. So, some of us carry a lot of bad habits. And it's not easy for us to move beyond our comfort zone. We've been used to doing certain things in a certain way for the last 42 years, and suddenly when they are, we're in a place where it's already comfortable, so to a certain extent we become very complacent. For us to pull ourselves out from that situation, and break the so-called shell and move beyond what is required is not easy. If I may use the term, what I heard quite some time back, they call it Sarah Valley.
Yeah.
S-A-R-A-H Valley. S stand for, if we want to implement change, say you want to implement change, but the first thing that people will experience will be shock. Shock. S. Why do I have to do this? You know, we've been comfortable, been doing this for the last 40 years. We've been successful. Yeah. And then after they got shocked, the initial shock, they will say, they will get angry. This leadership, this management come in and telling me that I have been doing things like for the last 42 years wrong, so they got angry. After they got angry, they will reject it. So that will be the bottom. This is like the valley. You know, the Sarah, S-A-R, shock, angry, reject. But we cannot give up because we cannot leave anybody behind. We must bring everybody on board. We cannot afford to say, if we are at the railway station, the train is about to leave, we let somebody left behind and we move on. We cannot do that. We have to have everybody on board. So we have to initiate discussion, we have to engage, we have to communicate, we have to be able to impress upon them why we need to do certain things, what have brought us here for the last 40 years will not bring us there. So the influencing and the communication is key. We need to bring them out from the reject position in order for them to accept. Yeah? So once they move to the acceptance level, then they can see the hope. So if they already see the hope, then they will be with us. So we call it Sarah Valley, and I think it's a very important theory that we need to understand how people behave. And therefore, once we know how people behave, then we will be able to mitigate it, we'll be able to work around it, and be able to bring everyone on board with us. So I think that's key. And sometimes people say whether you want to push your way out and get everyone to do it, or you want to pull them to your ideals. So I think that it's very important that we pull them to our ideals so that everybody can see why we do it. And therefore, then they will be able to come on board with us. I must admit, we are 25 years behind. It is not something that I buy off the shelf and say, okay, let's do that, but if my people are not capable, no point.
Change can be daunting, and resistance is natural. But for organizations undergoing transformation, it's simply not enough to announce new directions while expecting the business to be profitable. Yes, that's what you are mentioning, to come on board, I mean, and also leaving no man behind. And you gave a very interesting analogy on the valley as well. And also, okay, you touched on the, the rejection phase as well. And turning into acceptance, you know, as a leader, I mean, what strategies do you use to build from having this rejection, this fear, this anger that they have, and turn it into excitement or a sense of urgency around change?
Yeah, it's not easy because we're dealing with people. As you said, we do not want to leave any man behind. So that's not leaving any man and any woman behind.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Thank you for including.
Yeah, because we're talking about inclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. We're talking about people behavior. As I mentioned earlier on, in management, it's very easy for you to get your things done by pushing your way through. People say, boss always push me to do this, boss always push me to do that, right? What will be the outcome of these people if you push them to get things done? Yes, you can get it done, you will get them to deliver it, but whether the result will be sustainable or not, maybe not, because they will not do it with sincerity, they will not do it with passion, they will not do it with willingness. The better option would be to be able to communicate with them, engage with them, and make them see that they are part of the solution. To me, I always say this to my staff. Let's not be part of the problem. Let's be part of the solution. Because if we want to talk about problem, yes, you can say 1,001 things about what management did not do, what leadership did not do, then you start to blame everybody, including God. But why would you want to do that? Rather than focusing on coming up with solution together. So that's why to me, if you complain versus you're giving feedback, so those are two totally different things. If you complain, you're just focusing on the problem itself, but if you're giving feedback, you come up with a certain amount of proposal on how to improve moving forward. So to me, communication is key. We have to bring everyone on board, we have to engage them, and we have to make them able to see the things that we wanted to do will actually bring result. But sometimes, if our plan is too big, some of us might not be able to see it. It's good always to start with small, low-hanging fruits, we call it, certain things which are easy to implement, and certain things which are maybe not only easy to implement, but giving immediate result that people can actually appreciate and people can actually feel. So there's a couple of things that we have done in the pod, in B2 pod, for instance, that actually target all that area. Example, at one time, for customer to come in just to get a badge, just to enter the pod, it would take them like half a day. Half a day, because there's so many things that they need to fill out.
A lot of procedures,
and then they have to go to 2 or 3 places to fill up the form and to make payment. Just for RM1 of payment, they have to go like drive to one location and come back, show to the security guard and say, oops, okay, I've made my payment, so therefore give me this. The security guard will say, no, you have to go to HSC and go and watch the safety video first and show proof that you have watched it and come back to me, and once I'm happy with you, and then only I can give you the badge. So we said, okay, let's look at how can we optimize this. So we actually came up with a Gemba walk. Is a process for us to identify what are the processes that we have to go through, and what are the processes that we can live without, and what are the processes that we can enhance. So basically, we ask 3 things. For all the processes that we have, what are the processes that we can get rid of? Number 2, what are the processes that we should maintain? Number 3, what are the processes that has not been in, but we need to introduce? So normally, if you go through these 3 questions, you'll be able to come up with a system that will fit the purpose. In more cases than one, we have been able to come up with a couple of quick wins, low-hanging fruits, and that make people believe, that make people appreciate, and create that momentum for us to develop bigger things. So.
I mean, personally, how do you handle a situation where a key business leader or someone is reluctant to champion new technology?
It's not only here that I faced that. Even in my previous job, we actually have faced the same thing, especially when you want to introduce new processes and new way of working, right? So recently in the pod, we say, let's understand what we are doing. Let's come up with a new way of working. Let's challenge the way we do things now. But as I said just now, you cannot do this if you neglect someone, if you do not have everybody on board. The biggest question is how do we get everybody on board, right? So communication is key, as I mentioned. Getting them to see what, or that so-called system, whether it will work or not. So we made a couple of visits, for example, like we went to China, we went to Korea, we went to places where it doesn't, we never imagined that it could happen. So I give you an example. We went to Yangshan Phase 4 in Shanghai. It's a very big port. They manage about 42 million TEUs per year, and here we are managing 360,000 TEUs a year. Their operation in the port, you cannot see a single person in the port. All the equipments are running on their own.
On the machine, I think.
Automation. So that's why to us 2050 is the era where is the year that we feel we will only be able to achieve that. I must admit we are 25 years behind. But we need to start with digital first. And then once we have digital, it becomes a very good stepping stone for us to move into automation one day. Because automation costs us a lot of money as well. And whether our people are capable or not now, that's something that we need to consider. It is not something that I buy off the shelf and say, okay, let's do that, but if my people are not capable, no point. So it has to be an integral process on how we need to achieve that desired result. So we went there, we looked at it, we sent our key people over. So I told my team, if I were to send my grandmother there, my grandmother would have a shock of her life because she thought that it's a ghost
doing the
operated
work.
post, a pod, doing all the work because it's all running on automation. So when we came back from Shanghai, we sat down and said, okay, is that what we want? Yes, everybody said that's what we want. Okay then, let's sit down and see what we can do for the next 5 years, what we can do for the next 10 years. So we actually came up with a strategic alliance concept. To me, it's quite a brilliant way for us to progress. Because it's not like, if I want something, I go and buy it. We said, no, that's not the only way. It's the easiest way out for me to purchase it, for example. But it will cost us a lot of money. So we said, okay, let's look at another model then. Let's look at how we can create a strategic alliance. With the Malaysian supplier, with the Chinese supplier, based in China, with ourselves. How can we look at a triangle or 4-quadrant partnership that will benefit both parties, all parties? It's a bit too long for me to narrate here, but it is something that we're working on now, and which, in our opinion, would be able to give us the benefit that we desire to have. Why do we do this? What we have been doing so far, like baby steps kind of improvement along the way, I don't think we can afford to do that. We have to have a quantum leap.
Leaders don't just manage change. They inspire teams to turn uncertainty into energy. But inspiration isn't enough. Every change costs money. How do you figure out what to fix first? Coming with all this, we know that also Bintulu port is from 2030 and it's going towards to being a smart port, and you mentioned 2050 is going to be fully automation.
Yes.
Could you walk us through on why these years are being set in that timeline, or is there a particular reason?
Why? To be realistic, I think we have to put some reality to it. As much as we aspire to be smart, digitally enabled and clean port, intelligent port, but we have to be realistic about it. We have to know where we are. We have almost started with zero 3 years ago. We do not have even the license plate recognition. It has been installed at the shopping complex, whatever. Most of the shopping complexes already using plate recognition, not at the port. But we have just installed it. We have it installed. We have face recognition, which we just installed.
Yes.
We used to have fingerprint, but now we don't use fingerprint
now
anymore. So it's all face recognition. Even if you come with a moody face that day,
they will still recognize your face.
The camera will still recognize you. So, and we have improved on our gate automation. What used to take about 10 minutes for a truck to come in, now we can do it within less than 1 minute. So we have to take it slowly. For the past 2-3 years alone, we have done about 40 over digital initiative. Then we say, is there any more? Yes, of course, there are a lot more. Yeah, but sometimes it's almost like, do you even know what you don't know? Right? It's like a handphone. You never know that you need an Apple or a touch screen. You never know, because I grew up with a keypad. I grew up with a keypad, and I really love it because of the feel and stuff like that. And when people introduced me with the touch screen, I rejected it. I do not want it. Even when my wife bought me the flip, I said, why do I need it? But after 2 months of using it, I said, why didn't you give me earlier?
After using it, then you realize the importance of it.
Yeah, so there's a lot more out there that we need to adopt. But we have to be mindful on how to do it. It must be done in phases, it must be done in stages. So we say 5 years is a good enough time for us to try to become a fully digital port. And after that, we have another 20 years for us to be automation. Automation requires a lot of capex, a lot of money. We probably have to replace all our current equipment, if not retrofitting it, for example. And most importantly is that how do we want to sustain it? But we have started. In fact, the strategic alliance that I mentioned want to start with at least 1 row of our equipment, starting from RTG, rubber tired gantry crane, to a terminal tractor, into the QC, at least one row will be fully automation. So we go on piloting it and on a strategic alliance concept. So our partner will be coming in to help us and how to set it up. Then by doing so, if we can really do it within the next, I would say within the next 1 year, we'll be the first in Malaysia to have it. But is it enough to have only one row? Currently we have 5 QCs, and in the future we're going to have 10, for example. So it's a good way to start with one as a pilot, but you have to scale it up, right? Why do we do this? Ultimately, we need to increase efficiency, as I mentioned. What we have been doing so far, we have, like baby steps kind of improvement along the way. I don't think we can afford to do that. We have to have a quantum leap. We have to, because the customer's demand is getting more complex. It's getting more
necessities also.
Yeah, that become a necessity for us to move. So that's why I think ultimately fully digital by 2030, fully automated by 2050 is kind of realistic and doable.
Now, Dato', a final follow-up to that. I mean, as a leader, so how do you decide, or as a company, to spend, or what are the key indicators should you decide that the company should go for adoption and such? Could you share more on that?
Yeah, I think the question of expenditure, capex, is quite sensitive, and we are also quite sensitive to that. Because we are capex sensitive. There's a few things that we need to spend on, not only on digital. We have to spend on our infrastructure, for example, right? Our port needs to be expanded as the demand increase. In fact, today, we are already reaching almost 90% of our capacity. And in order for us to increase the efficiency, our productivity and our delivery, we need to spend on infrastructure. As you know, the port transfer will be happening very soon between federal and the state. So once the regulatory power has been transferred from federal to the state, inshallah, we'll be awarded the concession for the next 30 to 40 years. And therefore, the amount of capex that we need to spend on our port, not one but 2 ports that we have under us, which is Bintulu Port, Sdn Bhd, and also Samaraju Industrial Port, Sdn Bhd, is enormous. It's a huge amount of money, but it's something that we need to do. To me, it's which one of the lesser evil? Would you not want to spend the capex and be where you are, or you need to find money and spend the capex? Of course, we need to raise sukuk and stuff like that, right? In order to further develop our infrastructure, and come with it, of course, digitalization and automation. So we have the aspiration of, if we expand our port, it must be either fully digital or fully automated. And of course, when it comes to digital, when it comes to automation, our carbon footprint will be lower, so therefore it will be a cleaner port and stuff like that, right? So it's something that we need to balance. As I mentioned earlier on, it's a question of, can you afford it, or can you afford not to have it? So sometimes, most of the time, we need to think from the perspective of, if I do not do this, if I do not put in capex here, I will be left behind. And if I got left behind, my level of service will be low. And when my level of service will be low, my customer doesn't want to come. Not only they don't want to come, but they keep on complaining. So if they don't come, so where can I get my revenue? So it is something that we need to balance properly. And of course, we look at the projection, especially so with the aspiration of the state to move into green energy and expanding our industry base and stuff like that, going more into downstream, the Samaraju Industrial Park Phase 2 becoming, for example, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for us to be involved in helping the state to achieve the aspiration. We are working to get our free zone on stream, so if we can do that in Samaraju, will be the second free zone in Sarawak. We're very excited to have that. We already have a working relationship with a consultant from Singapore, world-class consultant, to help us map out how to develop, how to drive, how to attract customers, how to achieve that into our free zone. And by doing so, hopefully the ecosystem will be able to grow in tandem and help Sarawak achieve our desired result.
Whether in government or corporate management, the challenge is the same: leading others to serve people more efficiently while keeping the books in the black. Change is not just a strategy, it's inevitable, especially in the digital world where the wrong change or not changing fast enough can push an organization into the red. Join us for more change on Decimal Point.